Jessica here from Yoga Next Door in beautiful Maine, and bringing you your next Yoga at Your Door yoga break this morning. And this yoga break focuses on mobility and flexibility and strength through the hips. 7 years ago, after having my third child, I had a pretty significant injury in my left hip. And it was the combination slowly over time of strengthening and stretching that part of my body that has led to increased mobility. So this little yoga break also includes a lot of balance poses, which are a personal favorite. So find a standing position. We're going to start in mountain pose and have a block right in front of you at the top of the mat. So we're going to bring our feet hips width apart, and I'm just gently rocking back and forth for a moment here to bring me into the balls of my feet. And then I'm going to come to a stationary position, and let's think about energetically screwing our feet into the mat. So pull the heels in towards the midline and push the toes energetically out towards the side. So we're screwing those feet in, which brings our pelvis a little more open here. And then we're going to bring that engagement up the torso, finding a nice long spine, opening through the chest and the shoulders, palms facing outward down by your side. Tuck the chin and lift the crown of the head towards the ceiling. Close your eyes if you'd like and begin to breathe in and out through the nose. Finding more expansive breaths than your normal breathing pattern. So sending the breath down into the belly and maybe the pelvic bowl on your inhale here. Pausing at the top and exhale, release. Inhale, we fill up. We expand, hold, and release and let go. If you had your eyes closed, I invite you to open them now. And we're going to inhale, sweep the arms up, Urdhva Hastasana, palms above the head. Then bring a nice little bend into the knees and exhale, forward fold. Dropping right into a ragdoll pose. Keeping that bend in the legs as the hamstrings slowly begin to open, and focus more on length through the spine, letting the neck go, letting the crown of the head hang heavy towards the mat, lifting your sit bones gently towards the ceiling. And then while you're down there, grab that block we set at the top of the mat, and inhale, rise back to standing, and lift the block up over your head. So energetically check in with your feet again, and the block is here just for a little feedback and to additionally engage the upper body and a couple side bends. So we're going to lift through the torso and exhale, hinge over to the right, grounding through the left edge of the foot, not collapsing on the right hand side of the body, staying open through the left shoulder, gaze up to the ceiling, stretching out the waist on the left-hand side, the ribs, coming through center, lifting again and hinging to the left. Turning the gaze up to the ceiling so you're not collapsing in through that top shoulder. Gently squeezing the block here to bring your arms online. And then we'll rise back to center, lift and exhale again. Setting your block aside, maybe finding ragdoll here, or if you're feeling like the legs are beginning to feel a little more open, you can ground the hands to the mat, walking them back towards the feet, towards the heels, to pull the torso a little closer in towards the top of the legs. And then we'll inhale, rise all the way to standing, exhale, palms to heart center. So now we're going to start working on that hip flexibility and strengthening work. So we're going to ground down through the left foot. Inhale, lift the right leg out to the side. Exhale, bring it in. Inhale, lift. Keep doing this in time with your breath. And this motion helps strengthen the adductors and the abductors on the inside and outside of your hip. And we're also working on some balance here. And then we'll come back to neutral. We're gonna hug the right knee into the chest, lifting through the spine, opening through the shoulders, tucking the chin. And then exhale, come into what I call floating warrior three. And we're lifting and keeping the chest a little elevated as we extend that right leg back. And then we're gonna inhale, come back to center, lift the right knee, externally rotate through the right foot, and actively place the sole of the right foot on your left calf, finding tree pose. So we're keeping the pelvis facing forward. Don't rotate your pelvis to the side just to get your knee more open here. We're facing forward, and over time, that hip will open more to the right-hand side. And then we'll release from the right side, grounding down through the right foot, hands to the hips, lifting the left leg out to the side, trying to keep the rest of your body really stationary here, isolating the motion to the left leg and left hip. And then we'll inhale, hug that left knee, lifting through the spine, pulling those shoulders down and back here. And then we'll exhale, find that floating warrior three, extending left leg back, arms reaching forward, and then we'll lift back to standing, hands to the hips, lifting that right knee, externally rotating through the left hip, and actively bringing that left foot to the right calf. Checking in with your alignment here, bring the pelvis forward, working on that opening, but not worrying if your knee is not completely out to the side. Palms to heart center, and finding a couple of those ujjayi breaths in and out through the nose here. And then we'll ground the left foot down to the mat, pedaling the feet out. Inhale, sweeping the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Rising halfway on an inhale. Exhale, palms to the mat, stepping the feet back to plank, and then lowering the knees down, keeping them under the hips or widening them to the edges of the mat and shifting back into a child's pose. Stretching the hands one at a time, away from the body, creating more length through the spine, simultaneously sinking your hips lower down towards the heels. And if the hips don't go far down, that's fine, that's puppy pose. And you can slowly work on lowering them over time. And then we're gonna rise up onto our hands and knees, finding a couple quick cat-cows, which I love to get my spine warmed up and moving for any yoga practice that I do. So we're grounding through the hands, grounding through the tops of the feet. Inhale, lift the tailbone, relax the belly, open through the chest and the throat, gaze to the ceiling. Exhale, tuck the tailbone, arch through the spine, tuck the chin, cat pose. Inhaling to cow. And exhaling to cat. Inhaling to cow one more time. And then exhaling to cat. Now we're going to find some similar motions and postures to the ones we just did standing, grounded here in the mat. So we're going to inhale the right leg back, left arm forward. I'm just a little too close to my window here. So stretching out, engaging through the core, and then we're going to crunch left elbow to right knee, extend, grounding, right knee, left hand back to the mat. Then lifting the right leg up behind us, bending the knee, externally rotating that right hip, and grounding the right foot on the mat beside us. Inhale, rise up to a grounded warrior two. So our feet and the knee, the foot and the knee are on the same alignment that they would be in warrior two. And we'll hinge into a side bend here, bring the right elbow in front of the right knee. And then we're gonna come back through neutral, grounding the left fingertips, stretching the right leg out, inhaling the left arm up, the right arm up and over to a grounded side angle stretch. Check in with your hips here. You want to keep your hips in line with your shoulders and your knee, not letting them sink back behind you. And then we're going to ground down through our left palm, bring that right hand to the hip, flex the right foot, and lift the right leg up. So working the muscles of the outer hip here, finding a grounded half moon pose. If you want, you can stretch that right arm straight up to the ceiling. And then we'll release out of it, come back onto the hands and knees. This time extending the right arm out, left leg back. Gaze straight down to the mat. Exhale, crunch right elbow to left knee. Inhale, extend, grounding the limbs back to the mat, finding your alignment, lifting the left leg out behind you, bending at the knee, externally rotating that left leg out to the side to find your grounded warrior two, lifting through the spine, hinging into the side bend here. Gaze to the ceiling, staying nice and open through the right shoulder. And then we'll come back up and ground the right hand down. Extend the left leg out. Lift those hips up. Bring the left arm up and over. Grounding through the left foot, finding a grounded side plank here. And then we'll plant the palm, hand to the hip, flex that foot, and lift the back leg. So again, finding a grounded half moon pose here, which requires a lot of strength around the hip joint to hold the leg in this position. And then we'll come out of it and make our way back into table pose. This time widening the hands to the edge of the mat, tucking the toes, engaging the core, and lifting into a down dog. So finding your alignment here, grounding the hands into the mat. Just like we did with our feet, we're going to push the palms inward and turn the fingers outward to find a little external rotation through the shoulders here. Lift those sit bones up, engaging the low belly, bringing the lowest ribs closer to the top of the pelvis, and then slowly relaxing your heels down towards the mat over time. Bending the knees, engaging the core, and walking to the top of your mat. Lifting halfway on an inhale, nice flat spine. Exhale, forward fold. Hugging it in here. Finding a little more length through the back side of the body, through the legs. Inhale, rise all the way to standing. Exhale, palms to heart center. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Rising halfway on an inhale, planting the palms, stepping back to plank pose, lowering on an exhale all the way to the floor, stretching the feet out behind you, grounding the tops of the feet into the mat, lifting the knees, moving the hands back towards the rib cage. Inhale, lift into a cobra pose. Exhale, come down. Inhale, come through child's pose. And exhale, rise back to down dog. This time in down dog, We're gonna ground down through the left toes, inhaling the right leg high, three-legged dog, bending the right knee, arching the spine, bringing the right foot up towards the hands, and finding high lunge feet. So we're grounding firmly through the right foot, pushing into the balls of the left toes, left heel off the mat, engaging the core, lifting the torso. Inhale, rising up to your high lunge. And then we're going to exhale, step forward, hugging that left knee in, sweeping out to that floating warrior three pose, keeping some lift in the chest here. And then exhale, ground your back foot, finding warrior two. Feet on that balance beam again. Gaze turns out to look out over the right fingertips. Breathing here, building a little strength here. And then we'll straighten that front knee, stretch the right arm out, and tip into triangle pose. Trying to maintain integrity on both sides of the body here, so not collapsing in just to get your hand closer to the floor. Maintaining that lift, gaze up to the ceiling. And then from here, let's just rise back up, finding a block. And we're going to step out into half moon pose. So the block will come about a foot in front of your right toes. And we'll lift that left leg up. Think about shifting your right hip down and under the body to open through the pelvis here and stack that left hip on top of the right. So we're balancing here, flexing through that back leg. And then we're going to ground the left foot and step the right foot actively into tree pose. So maybe bring it a little higher than you did the first time. I'm on my knee, it's okay. I'm energetically pushing in both directions, lifting through the chest, finding that breath again, finding your focus, finding a little smile, and then we'll step the right foot back out, finding warrior two, cascading the hands down to the top of the mat, adjusting to runner's lunge, and then engaging the core, stepping the left foot up to join the right, lifting halfway in an inhale, and exhale, forward fold. Letting it go, hugging it in, relaxing the neck, and then we'll inhale, rise all the way to standing. Exhale, palms to heart center. So finding the same postures on the second side, maybe getting your block set up for half moon. Inhale, sweeping your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Rising halfway on an inhale, planting the palms, stepping back to plank pose. Finding the integrity of your plank, lowering with control, keeping the elbows in close to the body, stretching the feet away, grounding the feet, lifting the knees. Inhale, rising to cobra pose. Exhale, come down. Inhale, come through child's pose. And then we'll widen the feet, the hands, tuck the toes, and lift into down dog. Finding your breath here, finding your alignment. We're going to inhale the left leg high, three-legged dog, bend the left knee, arch the spine, bringing the left foot up to the hands, finding your high lunge feet, grounding through the left toes, the left foot up on the right toes, finding your core strength and a nice long spine. Inhale, rising to standing here, arms extended towards the ceiling. Exhale, hugging that right knee in towards the chest, lifting through the spine, opening through the shoulders. Exhale, floating warrior three. Extending the right leg back, keeping a nice little lift in the chest here. And then grounding the back foot and finding warrior two. Open through the pelvis, ribs stacked right on the pelvis, shoulders right on top of the ribs, arms extended out, knee in line with the toes on the left-hand side. Breathing here, strengthening here, and then we'll straighten the left leg, reach the left fingers out, and tip into triangle pose. Extending the right arm up to the ceiling, following it with the gaze. Finding your breath here, and then we'll rise up. Bend into that left knee, finding your block if you need it, flexing the back leg, shifting the left hip down and under the body to open through the right hip, finding half moon pose, adding the right arm, trying to straighten out through the neck, and find something that's not moving, a drishti point to help with your balance. And hand back to hip, grounding the right foot, pushing into the right leg, actively lifting your left foot up. I landed on my knee again. Palms to heart center, grounding yourself here in your tree pose. Maybe growing the branches of your tree for a little extra balance challenge here. Finding the breath again, finding your focus, and then bring the palms back down if you have the arms extended. Step the left foot out to the right, right foot back, dropping into your warrior two again, just to cascade the hands to the top of the mat. Find your runner's lunge alignment, engage through the core, and step the right foot up to join the left. Lifting halfway on an inhale, exhale, forward fold. Hugging the body in towards the legs, letting the neck go. Last forward fold, so maybe you tuck your hands under your feet or your heels here to engage and find a slightly deeper stretch. And then we'll inhale, rise all the way to standing. Exhale, palms to heart center. I'm switching to the other end of my mat, but you can stay right where you are. Inhale, sweeping the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Rising halfway on an inhale, planting the palms, stepping back to plank. And this time we're going to lower the knees again and come into a thread the needle child's pose. This is actually one of my favorite versions of child's pose. So widening the knees and thread the needle, we inhale the arm up and exhale, bring it down under the body. So in a thread the needle child's pose, we'll inhale that right arm up, bring it under the body, and simultaneously shift your hips down and back like you would in child's pose. Inhaling the left arm extended out above you, and just breathing into this nice stretch for the hips and the outside of the right shoulder and the low back. So my hips aren't completely down. I'm finding my edge and breathing into a good stretch for my body here. And then we'll slide that left hand back, push the mat away, inhale the right arm up and out, finding that twist, grounding the right hand to the mat. You guys can stay right where you are. I'm going to reorient myself. Grounding the right hand down, widening the knees, bringing the toes together behind you. I shift my right hand a little in towards the midline. Inhale that left arm up into the twist and then tease it through. Inhale, come up again. And then exhale, come all the way down on the outside of the left arm, shifting the hips back, grounding the side of the head down to the mat, and stretching the right arm away. Breathing here. Grounding yourself here. Reconnecting with the breath. Beginning to cool down here at the end of our little yoga break. And then we'll slide the right hand back towards the body. Inhale, lift the left arm up and out. Ground the left arm down to the mat. And then sit back onto your sit bones. And you're gonna find butterfly pose. Bringing the heels in towards the pelvis. Adjusting yourself on your sit bones. Then we're gonna inhale the arms up and exhale, stretch the hands forward, gaze to the feet, and pull those hands as far away from the sit bones as you can, relaxing the knees a little farther down towards the mat, and then we'll come back to a straight seated spine. Engage the core and stretch the legs out in front of you. Dandasana stick pose. Inhale the arms high. Exhale, forward fold. Finding the feet, maybe bringing a strap in here to make a connection between the hands and the feet. And then stretch the spine forward using the leverage of the feet. Relax the neck muscles. Let the head hang heavy. And just melt into a final forward fold here. Finding your breath yet again. And then we'll walk the hands back towards the torso. Finding Sukhasana, easy pose. Maybe tucking a foot up in half lotus. Or just finding a cross-legged position. Bringing your palms to heart center. Taking a couple final breaths here. In and out through the nose. Feeling that gentle vibration on the back of the throat. If you have time, I invite you to lay down for a Shavasana. Finding stillness and relaxation through the body and going to that deep, peaceful place within with your mind. Thank you so much for joining me for this yoga break. If you'd like to learn more about my other online yoga offerings, go to yoganextdoor.wordpress.com. The light in me honors the light in each of you. Namaste.